Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host here, Chantele Francis, here with my co-host, Phil. How are you today, Phil?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm okay. What I'm really happy about is the fact that it's still light out right now. And that just, like, my mom used to always tell me, like, after the 21st, like, 1 minute longer, 1 minute more daylight every day. And so it's always in my head, like, just a minute more every day, and then it's going to be summer, a minute more every day. And so the fact that we're over the hump of winter, where it's just like pitch black and night at 4:30, it's still light out right now, which it means spring is coming and there is hope in the world. So I'm happy. Woo-hoo! And if this is your first time on Reality Realness, well then welcome. We are happy to have you. Please join us in the comments and subscribe so you can know that we are going live. And, you know, we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. We can't do it without you. So come, subscribe, hang out with us in the comments, and talk to us about The Amazing Race Australia. We're going to look at episode 4 and 5. I know it's a lot of content, but what are your overall thoughts about both of those episodes, would you say?
Yeah, it's funny because, like, I watched episode 5 earlier today, and I was like, oh yeah, episode 4. Like, after I watched episode 5, I was like, what happened in episode 4? And like, okay, but it was good. I liked episode 5 more than 4, I think. Yeah, I think I like this this last episode more. But they both seem to go pretty fast. Again.
Second one was actually shorter. I think it was only 45 minutes, no commercial. And then the other one was probably like an hour and 10 or so. So
yeah,
probably an hour and a half when it was on air. So so for me, I just actually really like The Amazing Race. You know me, you've met me through games. I like playing games. I like being challenged. I like doing things I've never done before. And so it's just, I don't necessarily find that the legs and what they have to do on each legs for roadblocks and all that stuff is that challenging or that kind of fancy. But I still like it kind of more so as like a scavenger hunt or like it's more homegrown and it just seems more attainable. And I don't know, I'm still enjoying it though, even though it's not extravagant like The Amazing Race we're used to. So
yeah, I kind of feel it feels like how Amazing Race used to be, like a little bit like, oh, you know, there's a couple of mistakes on the cameras, like I can see the cameraman and those kind of things, but it's like, oh, who cares? It's fun.
Exactly. I mean, I do. It's something that I don't need it to be high production value to enjoy it. I did a rewatch of some of the Real World versus Road Rule the Challenge last summer, and it was just so homegrown, but it was still so good. Like I don't need to have these explosions and these like crazy Iron Man type challenges. Like it doesn't have to be for me to enjoy it to be that extreme. And so getting back to kind of the bare bones here, I'm liking it. So, and I like the cast quite a bit, and I'm being very surprised by a lot of people in the cast. Not gonna lie, I definitely feel that my picker was definitely off this time because I didn't have the right read on most people at all, seemingly right now, anyways.
Well, should we go over the survey from episode 3?
3, yes, 3. And
all right.
And 4, how would we do this?
Let's go over the episode, what people said, and then at the end we'll do the because I made one for 4 and 5.
Okay, I get it.
So from episode 3, we asked everybody, do they like the host? And it was a 100% people love the host.
I really do.
Yeah, I think he really brings that joy into it. You can tell he's having fun.
Definitely I like the host. I think that he definitely is enjoying himself. I wonder if he has I haven't looked. I'll look next episode to see if he has a producing credit because he seems really passionate about being there and it seems like it's his baby, his project. So I wonder if he has some more stakes in it or if he's just lucky to loving his job.
Who knows? I think he's a fun guy. I don't know. Were you surprised to see the return of Dwes and Katherine? And
Yeah.
yes.
They said, yeah.
Yeah, everybody said yes.
I wasn't surprised, only for the fact that it was recorded in times of COVID. So I just didn't see them going back home super quickly. Like, you know, I just see them staying in their hotel room for a little bit, or maybe even for the entire duration of the race, because, you know, they usually show up at the finish line. You know what I mean? So they're still available, and I don't think that they anticipated having the twins go out. And so I think I mentioned before, it's kind of better for them not to change the leg dynamic and how it was getting eliminated, and it's already pre-planned. So they probably was like, "Look, this is going to make the least amount of waves. Like, let's
just bring them back,
bring them in." Yeah. So I wasn't surprised, but it's the first time we've really ever seen that, I think.
Yeah, usually they just put on another non-elimination or something. They don't usually bring a team back. So, how much of an advantage? Between the salvage and the sabotage, it looked like people thought that the salvage was more of an advantage than the sabotage was a disadvantage.
I totally agree. Still, yeah. Wait, what was the sabotage again?
The sabotage was not talking. Yeah, which was tough, but it was all spread out for which task was the hardest. We got the bedpan race was in there, the dinosaur digging puzzle, and the putting the wheels on the trucks.
Yes, I think it's a dinosaur.
Yeah.
That's fine.
People did not think but I made a mistake on that question, so we won't bother. That was the one when it was actually the 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And then right now, the biggest shock to see, who would be the biggest shock to see win the whole race at this point? Jobelle and Ronnie. Agreed.
Yeah, I agree
with that as well.
Is this somebody that you know, or is it somebody who's trolling? Pills in Ibiza. Hi, Pills. Hey, Phil. I've seen you on a TV show before. Is that true?
You've seen me on a TV show. Pills in I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Speaking of, I do have to give a shout out and say hello, because I was on the Bachelor RHAPups with Haley and Amy, and they said that they've met you, and they said,
yeah, it was a troll. Now I see what he did. That was great. That was funny. Okay. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm not even going to click it, but I can't erase it. It's so weird. Sorry, Phil. I can't erase it.
That's all good. All right. Who? Amy and Haley?
Yeah. So I was on the Bachelor, their recap yesterday, and so they saw me doing this recap with you, and they're like, "We know Phil. Oh, he's great." And like, I guess you took them or showed them around town or something, and that you live very close to Haley.
Yeah, we took them to Niagara-on-the-Lake. Beautiful town in Niagara. We went there, and I think we had dinner or we had drinks or something like that. Yeah, that was a little while ago now. That was probably like 5 years ago. So.
Well, now that like I've made connection with them, I already said, I'm like, well, I'm supposed to go down and see, like, meet his drag friends, because we do the Drag Race UK recap together. And like, so she's like, well, when you do that, then you got to come down and get to see me too. So we're gonna now have to come down to Niagara region and go and hang out with you and. I can't tell the difference between the two. Haley.
Love it. We'll do a reality realness, like a special
on the road.
Yeah, it's great.
So the beginning of this episode, they're going to be going to Castle Hill, which is kind of like a rock face, and they have to get to the top to get their next clue. Now, we just talked a little bit about Jobelle and Ronnie saying that like people would be most shocked to see them win, but they think that they have what it takes to win. So who do you agree with?
Right.
Do you agree with Jobelle and Ronnie having what it takes to win, or the audience saying that they at least expect them to win?
They haven't had a up at the top of the pack yet. We need that. We need to have them have that, and maybe then I think maybe some decisions might change. I kind of feel like they're going to be middle to back of the pack for most of the race. So I don't know. I kind of agree with the audience here.
Exactly. And eventually, though, the back of like the middle of the pack becomes the back of the pack. It becomes last. Like I like them. I appreciate them wanting to do well. We know that they're fighting for something that's great. But in reality, I don't know if they have the instinct and the drive and like I just don't. I think there's some teams that are a little more competitive than they are, that are running a cleaner race than they are. And so I just feel as though it would be very easy for them to slip up and be, 7th place or something and then be out. You know what I mean? So wish them well, but I'm not sure if I see them winning it with their competition.
Love
so
it.
Shane and Deb, our biggest surprise so far, is first at the Roadblock, and who is ready to face off. So who would be doing this, me or you?
And they don't see they're are they there when they see it or no?
They get there, but I don't know if they can tell that they're repelling.
Ready to face off. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I don't know who
I think I would make you do it because it sounds like hockey.
That's true. If it's hockey, oh my gosh, yeah. Skating. Can you skate?
Wait, can you skate or no?
Barely, but yes, I can.
Okay, between skating and riding a bike, which one are you better at?
Skating.
And can you play hockey?
I know how. I understand how it works.
And you haven't played hockey probably in like 30 years. So I was like, I don't know.
I think we might have fun there if that ever happens.
But I think I would still make you do face off because it's I feel like you probably played more games in your life than I have. If we're thinking it's hockey.
Yeah.
So I mean, but if we knew that it was repelling, I've repelled before, and so I'm not really that scared of it. Are you scared of heights? I can't remember.
No, and actually I've done it as well. So
you would definitely do this one then.
Yeah.
From this clue. And so what they have to do is rappel down a rock face, and they have to hook their picture on either brain or brawn. Now, did this come into play, the brain or brawn?
Not yet. So we don't know what's coming up there. So it seems like it's going to be some sort of task where maybe the brains either face off against the bronze, or they're picking who they're going up against, or maybe it's even like a detour choice that they're locking themselves into.
But do you think though that it would be resolved in this episode?
You would think. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I just find it interesting that they introduced something that didn't have a completion. But maybe it will in the future. We'll keep our eye out on it, or maybe it did. They just didn't air it. Maybe it did already play out.
Yeah,
which is also possible. They didn't make the cut. So Dolor decides that he's going to be doing this task, and so they must not be able to see what it is because apparently he is terrified of heights. So Dolor flies and heights and
water. Yeah. Seems like he really thought coming onto this show was a good idea.
Yeah, he's not necessarily meant for the race. Shane and Deb decide to clip theirs onto bronze, and they finish the task. It seems like they didn't have any problem with it. Who was it that went down? Was it Deb? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And so the next clue that they get is to fly to Palm Island. There's going to be limited flights, like seats on each flight, leaving at different times. And then I was like, after this, Super Seeks came out. I was like, oh yeah,
they're back,
guys. Like, I really didn't like the fact that they didn't participate last leg. It wasn't, in my opinion, good for them. It wasn't good for us getting to know them as characters on this TV show. And with them getting this first class pass and getting their luxury cheap treatment, they have to pick their spot where they're entering in the race.
Yeah.
They get to the mat in first, but they're leaving in 10th. How is this a first class pass to the back?
I don't know. I mean, is running the Amazing Race, which is what you wanted to do. You want to come on this show to go on the Amazing Race, is a couple hours of pampering. I don't know. Is that what you want? Like, or do you want to run the race? I'd rather run the race.
so it's interesting. Like as spoiler alert, it doesn't really interfere that much, but like I would be pissed. Like I'd be like, I don't want. Can I give it to somebody? Can I give the first class pass to somebody? Like,
right? Like, I mean, they could have been leaving last, and could have been the whole and I mean, they pretty much almost were here leaving last. So, yeah,
man, it's brutal. And getting to the mat first 2 legs ago, so bad. I do have to say though, Dolor ended up doing the rappelling, and I was very proud of him when he got to the bottom, because they didn't show it maybe, but he didn't seem to complain that much for somebody that was very scared of the activity. I thought that he did it well, and I kind of got a little bit teary-eyed for him overcoming something, because we know that he has a big ego and like, you know, a lot of pride, and so the fact that he overcame something, I think that it was healthy for him.
Definitely. Yeah, no, I think, you know, he does have some good moments, and you know, I think that was really important for him to do, and maybe it sort of changed his outlook on the race. I don't think he's been too irritating since then, except for you know, when something happens to them.
True. That actually as well. And then I got a little bit worried for your team now, Jobelle and Ronnie, because there was a lot of confessionals from them.
Yeah.
You know,
she was mad.
She went, yeah. So her poor dad forgets the lantern, and like they had to turn around and go back to the top of the mountain to get the lantern and come back down. Now they were in a pretty good place at that point. Like, what were they, like in 4th? I think it was.
Yeah, they were up there. Yeah.
And so they went up and came back down. It didn't seem like they fell too far from that blunder, but little daughter Jobelle was not happy with having to go up that mountain.
No.
So did you think that there was going to be a penalty for leaving the lantern?
I think there could have been, but honestly, I don't know. After seeing all the penalties that have been happening so far, I don't know if it was worth going up to go get the lantern. Like, they didn't use it for anything, so
like,
don't worry about it. Like,
I probably would have been like, oh, whoops.
It probably would have been like a 20-minute penalty. And so, you know, like,
at this point, I think it's 10. I think everything's 10. So I was curious, so what was on everybody's face before at this point, because I didn't know what the next tasks were, but it looked like it was like calamine lotion. I guess I was looking at Holly's though, and it was just in very interesting placement. There was no
like sunblock or something.
Like, I don't know, like Zik cream, zinc. Like, it just didn't look like it was in sort of any pattern or design. Like, it was just quite random. But my first thought was it was calamine lotion, so maybe they're getting bites or something. And Malaan and Tina were talking about modeling on the cliffs. So I was like, okay, I think that it's going to be Malaan and Tina, and Ronnie and Jobelle were the 2 teams that I thought were going to be in the back of the pack here. And so she is really beautiful though. I like when the modeling photos, like I do feel like I recognize her. She has a familiar face.
Yeah. I don't know where from, but I mean, they're both very beautiful.
100%. But when I saw that clip, I was like, oh, I don't know if she's gonna make it though. Yeah. So right now my eyes was on Jobelle and Ronnie and Malaan and Tina for being the bottom 2 teams. That's where, editing wise, that's what I was thinking. They had to meet a tribesman from the land, and they cleansed themselves with some smoke, and they had to go to Fred Clay Freedom Park. And so when they get there, they need to pick up a necklace. They had 4 necklaces there. And they had to learn a dance, the Imbala dance. Now, I only wrote down the emu and the butterfly. Do you remember what the other 2 dance animals that they had to choose from?
I know. I thought one was a snake. And then I don't know what the other one was. Yeah.
They didn't really focus on it, and the dances did not really resemble its animal in my. Oh yeah. It was there. So I was very shocked that Amanda and Ashley weren't really great dancers. They were a lot more awkward than I was expecting them to be.
Yeah, they seem really shy. Like I was like, oh, girls, like you've got a chance to go take the lead here. You're doing pretty well. And then it was like, I was like, oh, okay.
And the dance, for me, it didn't seem that difficult. It didn't seem very intricate. It just kind of seemed like,
No.
like it seemed pretty simple, but
yeah. And they just wanted you to do that dance. They didn't want you to add things like Dolor was doing. Like they didn't want that kind of stuff. Just do the dance. And that's all they have to do. Just do it.
Do it. So Shane and Deb are also there at this pretty much the same time. After Ashley and Amanda did their first attempt, Shane and Deb did their first one, and they were able to get it in their first shot. They didn't look great doing it, but I think it's because they were clear in their movements. Like you could tell that they were looking a little awkward, but doing their movement correctly. They weren't subtle about their actions. So I think that's why they were able to get it so quickly. And then they have the detour. So it's going to be on air or on time. With on air, they have to memorize the radio script. And then on time, they have to make a pizza and deliver it. Which one would you want to do here?
This one's tough because I think actually both of them I would be all right with. I think I would, I don't know. Because I kind of feel like the pizza, even though you have to wait for it, it seemed like it might be a little bit faster. But I don't think I would have struggled much with the on air. I mean, I
totally agree with you as well. I was like, I could do either of those, but you never know how long the script is going to be, and if they're being super particular about each word and syllables and S's and stuff like that, it could be easy to make small mistakes and then go to the back of the line and have to wait and do it over again. So as much as I think I'd be confident in doing that one. I think that the pizza, it's like, okay, 15 minutes. We know that's how long it's going to take. We won't be like, oh my God, we chose the wrong detour for sure. You just be like, we'll just pile it through. And when it's done, it's done. So that's what I think I would petition to do the pizza in this scenario, just because you could memorizing lines, you can mess up. It's easy.
And you're in a smaller sort of area, so you're not going to be like sent out into the boonies to like deliver this pizza as well, right? Like sometimes, I know we in other races when they were in India and they had to deliver the food, in some ways that could be like quite dangerous because there's so much going on, like it's hard to find places. But in this case, it was like pretty quiet town, it seemed like, that they were in. So.
Yes. So I think that it seemed as though the people that did the pizza challenge had less trouble. And so looking at how the outcome is, I think that the best decision would have been pizza. And also you have to get it in under 25 seconds. That's standard, but like some people speak slowly, which we kind of learned. Like Dolor, he sounded really good, but he was doing some like sultry,
very white thing.
Like, chit chat, lovers talk.
That's right.
Dolor and Holly. Like it's
turn the lights down. Okay.
It was slow, but it sounded good, but it was slow. I was kind of writing here as well that it totally sucks for the Super Seeks to be at the back of the pack, and Jordan and Violeta they're excited about this dance challenge. They are at the back of the pack, but they're excited about this dance challenge. They're hoping that they're going to be able to, pick up some positions in the leg with being able to pick up choreography quickly. What do you think about the Cowboys? How they sounded on the radio? They chose radio.
I didn't notice. Was there something good about
that? I was actually surprised. Pretty good.
Yeah.
That they did have radio voices when I was listening to them. Like it sounded. They had the style of it. I thought it sounded pretty good. And they were able to get it in 8 attempts, which is quite a while, actually.
That's quite a while. I did notice that they were there was a couple others, but they were good at blocking out the other person, which I think is really important to do. You just got to remember what your lines are. That's
I guess how I would do it. I don't know, because if usually when you're like acting in a scene, the other person's lines informs you of your line, but it seems like they were independent. So that might be the best route to like, let me just remember what I have to say and not listen to. So I said at this point that Shane and Deb made the right choice. Pizza, first attempt, like they're in first place, no trouble whatsoever, like they are off. So they have to go to Palm Island Airport where there is a U-turn. Do you feel like it's a bit early for a U-turn, or what do you think?
Like in this no, I think we're around the right time, right? Like episode 4 or 5, usually there's something. Their U-turns like a normal U-turn. It's just one person gets it. There's no blind U-turn. Sometimes they do a blind one as one of the first U-turns, but this is interesting when they get there and what team they pick and how that all goes. I question it a little bit. I wonder if they're being honest about why they picked that team, because it's kind of a weird pick.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit of a weird pick as well. I mean, it must be that they're unlikable, but I don't know if it was the smartest pick for them to do. So basically when they get to the Palm Island Airport, they have to like trim grass in some lanes, which I thought was with these very small scissors. I thought it was an interesting challenge.
I would have hated that challenge. It sounds awful, especially out in the sun.
Like, I never would think to do that one. Yeah. Okay. It kind of sucked. And then I was getting worried about some teams too, though, like with doing the radio challenge at this time. It's like everybody that was doing the radio challenge was not having a good time at all. I was including Sefa and Jess. They definitely were. I was getting worried about them because I do really like them. And so back to team 1 and 2. So that's the Cowboys now and what's her name? Shane and Deb. Yep. Get up now at this airport, and they decide that they're both on the same page with the team that they want to U-turn, and that team is Dolor and Holly. So I already briefly mentioned why I think they chose them was because they're annoying and they don't like them. Do you think there's any other reasons? Because
I mean, strategy wise, this was not a good idea. I mean, first off, the real question is, why did they bother doing a U-turn? They were in first. I don't quite get it. And if you're going to do that because you want to come in first, then you should U-turn the Cowboys. I mean, because they're with you, and send them back. But I mean, I don't think that would have been a great idea. But that's if that's what the reason was, they wanted to get first, you do that. And then really, if they're going to use it, why aren't they using one of the back teams and sending them out? And, as much as I like the Super Seeks, they have proven how strong they are. This would have been, if you're going to go for a strong team, that's the team to go for, because they're stuck in the back right now. So I don't know. It must have been more personal. I'm getting the vibe that at these pit stops, when they're mingling with one another, because I think that is happening in the Australian one, I think that they do actually spend time because they seem to be really close with all the teams. I think Holly and Dolor are on their own island and have rubbed quite a number of people the wrong way. So
it must be the case. And it's a little bit unfortunate because it hasn't come into effect, but I wouldn't be surprised if they became the ostracized team, and that they'll automatically flip and become the underdog. Because
and we're going to be like, let them win. We want to see them win. So yeah.
Well, because right now though, I'm not that mad at them. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I was just kind of like, okay, it seems personal while you are targeting them because they were in 4th or 5th. So yeah, maybe you're just saying like, oh, they're capable of overtaking first, but it kind of like you don't want people to still stay in the race when you U-turn them. Like
that whole, I think she even said to them, oh, we U-turned you guys because we knew you'd be able to stay in. Well, that's not why you use the U-turn. Like, you use the U-turn to try and take somebody out.
And nobody cares
to get back at you.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody cares to hear that and be like, wait, no, you're trying to get me out. Like, you can't be like, oh, because you're so strong, I wanted you to stay. Like, No, you just didn't like me, and we're the only team that you didn't feel guilty about you turning.
Yeah.
That's basically it. Or guilty enough, anyways. I don't know if you noticed a little girl, though. I went at the pizza, I think it was the pizza place. She was so cute. There was like she looked about 3 or 4, a little adorable little girl, gave a hug to one of the teams. I can't remember which team. So, okay, Sefa and Jessica, 14 attempts at the radio.
Yeah.
Like,
that's surprising for them.
Switch detours, that's a lot. Dolor and Holly were able to get out, though, with only 9 times. Malaan and Tina 7 times, and Jordan and Violeta were last, which is not good. Not good at all. So they had to go to the airport thing to do the scissor cutting of the grass. And Dwes and Katherine, they hitchhiked to that spot. How did everybody else get there? By foot?
No, they had the shuttles. The shuttles were taking them. And for some reason, they didn't take the shuttle.
Okay, because I just didn't. I felt like did I miss something? Like, how did everybody else get there? I don't get. People were sharing shuttles. That's where they were talking to teams, but the 2 teams in one van. So
because also when the shuttle would arrive, the other team, if you were there and you finished, you were able to get on that shuttle to go to the pit stop as well. Like it was like a shuttle service was going on or something.
So yeah, I got really confused. I'm like, how did they get so far out of what everybody else is doing? Hopefully that can stop, because I want them to stay in this game, but they just make a lot of little mistakes. Yeah. So I'm worried for them. And so Dolor and Holly get to the grass copping and they did the roadblock. They went back, they did it. Like, they didn't seem to have that much trouble. They didn't really showcase them doing the pizza. But they didn't lose that much, I can't talk. Like, against the people that did the radio challenge, the pizza doing it after was still faster than some people trying to complete that challenge for the first time. So they were able to get to the grass and still see a lot of the teams that would rather see them go still working on it, including Jessica and Sefa. Jessica really doesn't like Dolor and calls him Dolores, which is kind of funny, but also it's a little bit mean too.
Yeah. I kind of feel like I wonder if that's going to come up. Like if, I don't know. I don't think that was probably the smartest thing for her to be doing anyways. I don't think she needs to have teams going against them, because now they've put themselves into Shane and Deb's decision, right? And instead, just keep your mouth shut. Don't even be like, oh, I don't know why they U-turned you. Like, keep it on them.
Well, and they're kind of making him feel as though he shouldn't be upset about it.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit gaslighty, in my opinion. If they did it to you, you would definitely be going on about it and being quite upset, I'm sure. I don't think anybody would be taking it lightly. And so it's kind of like they're telling him that he doesn't have the right to be mad, because it's part of the game. Anyways, it just was I just didn't like that a little bit from Jessica there. I was a little bit mad for her. Yeah. Poor Dolor, though, fighting the flies. And,
he wasn't even on the ground cutting the grass.
Poor Holly. Holly
she did the majority of that grass cutting. That's for sure.
Totally. But unless I made a mistake here, I think they still left the grass in 4th.
No, they were a bit.
Jess and Sefa left in 4th. Sorry, I'm misspeaking here. But the Cowboys managed to make it to the mat in 1st place. So your Cowboys are doing way better than I was expecting them to. Yeah. And they seem to be getting better and better every episode. So I'm pretty impressed by them, not gonna lie.
Yeah, they surprised us because that first leg was not good. So.
Not good. Shane and Deb 2nd, no surprise there. Ashley and Amanda proving to be quite strong. So impressive with you having the first 3 teams, the first 3 place teams.
Oh my gosh. Well, we'll see how long that lasts.
True. Sefa and Jess, they're 4th. Jake and Skye-Blue 5th. Jobelle Rani 6th. Chris and Aleisha 7th. Jaskira and Anurag 8th. Dolor and Holly still finished 9th in the end because Dwes Katherine received a 10-minute penalty because they didn't take the shuttle. They took a hitchhike instead. So they fell, Dolor and Holly fell from 4th or 5th to 9th by doing the roadblock. That's not too bad. I think that should be good confidence for them to be like, hey, like they tried to sabotage us and get us out. Yeah. We're a good team and we're getting better. So I hope that gave them some confidence because I don't want them to really go out like that.
No, I actually would have been really shocked if they had gone out because they were so far ahead. It was such a bad move, like to U-turn them. Like it didn't.
The plane flights. What was the time difference between all the planes?
I know the last plane was like 10 something, and the first plane was like I think 8. So it was almost 2 hours. 2
hours. Okay, I was just like, why are they so spread apart? I thought it was like one of those like 8:05, 8:50, like kind of close together. So okay, that makes a lot more sense as to how they didn't fall too far behind because the pizza thing took them an extra half an hour in total. Like whoop-de-doo. And so the host seems to really love Dolor and Holly because this is the second time that I've witnessed him hug them both. He just goes in for like the double hug with them. I think it was the first episode as well. He did it to them. And so I think he likes them.
Yeah, I think the host is very huggy. I don't know if that would fly on the US version anymore. I think people would be like, don't hug me. But
staying in the United States, they might. Like, look at the Bachelor. Like,
that's true.
They're making out. Like, they're quarantined. They test every other day. Like, they're just come here, baby. I haven't touched another human being in so long. It's so weird. And so Dwes and Katherine waited out their penalty. They only lost 1 position, so they're 10th place. And Jordan and Violetta are 11th place. And Malaan and Tina were not able to make it up. And they came in last. And when they're watching it back, they must be so mad that they didn't do pizza.
Oh, yeah, they must be. I mean, it's a shame. They were good, and I think that they would have been strong. They just didn't seem to be able to get over the hump to get up there.
Yeah, they start out strong, and they haven't quickly enough adapted to how to run the race because I haven't really seen them make that many mistakes. It's just I don't know how they lose being in the front, you know?
Right.
I don't know if it's like a bad slow taxi driver or if they're making mistakes that we didn't see, but I don't know. But they're gone, which is sad. I want to see them do a little bit better, but on to episode 5. So do you want to do a little update on the survey for episode 4?
They're mixed together now.
So you want to do it all at the end?
We'll do it all at the end. There we go.
Okay. Now we're So episode 5, they're going to Magnetic Island in Queensland on the coast of, and they're basically going from Palm Island where they are, and they're taking a ferry over to Magnetic Island where they are intercepted by a roadblock. Who likes hanging out?
Yeah.
Probably choose this one, I think.
Oof. Yeah, and again, you don't see what it is. It's who likes hanging out?
I mean, good at it though. I would feel really bad because
I mean, I would think hangout. I would be like, oh, so would that be like hang glider? Would that be like hanging out outside of a building? Like what is that? What does that mean? Maybe it's closed.
Would be better than what they actually have to do. So I couldn't really understand. Maybe I do understand it, but it's just like not fully developed of an idea. But basically, they choose one person of their teammate to go and hang out where they're kind of koala holding onto a large cylinder thing over some water. And the order that they fall is the reverse order of them leaving that spot.
Yes.
So does it have to do with time or just the order?
Just the order. I think I don't know if they said what the times were, but I would assume it was something like 5 minutes or 10-minute intervals. Then they go. It's probably 5 minutes. So.
Well, how they leave is it okay? So because I just was like, so the person that drops first has to wait until the last person drops so they can leave first. I was just kind of like, okay, that's like I get that they don't get to leave when they drop, but just waiting around for team number one
so then
leave first, it just didn't seem to work for me.
So they ended up having a long stay after they dropped. Like the first team, they had to wait on the beach for quite some time.
And the first team that actually dropped was Shane. It was pardon? Yeah, it was Shane.
Yeah.
And at this point now, Dolor and Holly are kind of like, we're rivals with Shane and Deb, but like we want them out of this race. Like they came for us and they took their shot and they missed, so we're coming for them, which is very valid, very fair. Which is another reason why it's like, why would you want to leave somebody in the race that's just gunning for you, or is just doesn't care about your success?
Right.
So he falls first. Holly falls quite quickly after. I didn't see the rest of the order of people falling, and I couldn't really keep track of who was in what order as they were leaving. But the next part of it is they had to get in these cute little convertible Jeeps. Like, what were they?
Yeah, and I kind of got the vibe that they were all sort of different types of cars too. Like some were older and some were like they were all in different ability. Like some worked well, some didn't. It was like some were manual. Like I was like, oh, I don't know. Okay, it was like pick a car.
As usual, Dolor doesn't know how to drive stick. He's stalling on the hill, telling people to go around them. I like them now, though. They're holding up to them big time. I didn't like how he was treating her in the first episode, but they're working better together, and I've not noticed him be that kind of mean to her in the last little bit. Maybe
they seem to be together and getting frustrated with other people. Like,
it's them against the world, and so that brings two people together always. One thing I found interesting, though, Amanda and Ashley said that they made really good friends with the Super Sikhs as well as the Cowboys, and so this kind of goes with what you're saying with people bonding during the pit stop and whatnot. And some friendships are happening that I can agree. Probably Holly and Dolor aren't being a part of.
And of course, they didn't tell us that those three specific teams are getting along for any reason at all. Like, it just so happens at the end of this episode, like it's like, oh wow, these three teams are strong.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So how would you deal with being U-turned by Shane and Deb? And surviving.
And surviving. I think that it would be obviously it would be hard to put it behind you to be like, okay, well, because they basically put a line in the sand and said, well, we went after you, we want you out. So I think that it would motivate me to do better on the race to try and get ahead of them. Shane and Deb, as silly as it is, they actually made quite a big statement there because they were in first when they did that, and they really did not need to do that U-turn, and they really put a target on themselves with Holly and Dolor.
Such
unnecessary
call. Yeah, I don't think if I was in first place or if I wasn't fighting for, like, maybe the second time it comes up when it's more competitive and there's less people in the game, maybe I'd be like, okay, let's try to knock out a strong team. I could be persuaded in that situation. But when there's like only 2 people have gone home, I think at this point, 3 if you include the taking themselves out of the game. It's something that you're in the front. Who cares? Why have bad blood with anybody right away? Especially if you didn't choose somebody that's gonna for sure go home.
Yeah.
So, So yeah, because Shane felt like he held on for a while, but he did fall first, and he seems to be kind of beat up about with this, like body wise. He mentions that he's had to have a few surgeries, I believe, on his knee, and even his wife Deb was also doesn't seem to be able to run very well. So they do seem to have some sort of mobility issues with their legs or knees. What did I write here? Oh, okay. So this is actually where it happened. So they are kind of, I guess they're at they're sleeping in tents before they go on to the next leg.
Yeah, it's like they're at a cultural place or something and they get to sleep outside in tents.
And Shane can't move his leg. He has to call for a medic, and he calls it and says that he can't continue on. Were you shocked by that?
Yeah, I mean, I know that in the previews they said one team's going. I actually wasn't expecting it to be this team. They've been pretty strong. I actually thought it was going to be Jobelle and maybe something with Ronnie. I thought something might have happened to Ronnie, but I'm upset because they seem, though, as much as we're down on them about the U-turn decision, they've been a strong team, and I like to see the older team be a strong team. That's a nice thing to see on the race. So they had great spirits and they seem to be running it well. So it kind of sucks for them. I haven't checked into it to see. I'm sure he's fine now, but just to make sure that he's fine now. But yeah, it sucks. That would really suck. If I would really be devastated if I had to be taken out of something that I was looking for.
Devastated.
Yeah,
and and Dolor, I thought was really like I was really looking to see how he's going to react to this and be like, yay, they're out. Or the way that he did say, like, oh, I don't want him to go out like that. Like, I want to, like, actually just beat him in this game. Like, I don't want him to be taken out by anything like this. And so, to me, that showed that he has better sportsmanship than I was giving him credit for, and that he's a little bit kinder than maybe a lot of other people are giving him credit for. So, I was happy that they showed it, and I was happy that he was having that response.
Yeah, I was worried because at first it showed them sort of at a distance. Everybody else was like coming up and say things. And so they didn't show that part. And I was like, oh gosh, like he's going to say something like he's going to be a dick about this. And he's going to say something that's not appropriate. But he did know. I thought he was right. And that shows also that he's got a little bit of competitiveness in him, that he's saying, I would have rather have beat you on the race. Which is kind of good because that in some ways has been a little bit missing with Dolor and Holly. Like they kind of approach some of these tasks like the tasks are too hard for them to do. So it's nice to see that they think that they're getting that momentum. They might be into this and try and win. So
yeah, I think that they're with them getting the U-turn. They're like, hey, we could do this. So hopefully they got some mojo, in their gaming style. So they get a route info, and they have to go and eat 20 dry Weetabix. Have you had this before?
Well, okay, so sort of. I've had Weetabix from England. Like, I love Weetabix from England.
I said Weetabix. So Weet-Bix is the
Weet-Bix,
Australian.
Yeah, which I guess would be the Canadian equivalent would be shredded wheat, sort of, right? Okay. So because it would be dry, eating like all these shredded wheats. Like, I would think that's what it would be like. Yeah, I like them with milk. I don't know if I'd like them without the milk.
I've never had to eat a lot of things that are super dry, so I don't know how difficult that would be for me. I feel like it should be easy, but like I have no idea.
It looked like a lot. It
looked like a lot. Like I wouldn't even want to eat that much with milk.
No.
Like,
what would be the way to do that? What was in your opinion, when you were looking at that? Like, what would be the way to get through that faster?
I'd probably just try to gather spit in my mouth and take like half of it in one bite, and make it into a paste and be like, blah, blah, and just like power through it. Like, so the Super Seeks, though, they decided that they were going to try to hydrate themselves really well to eat it. What do you think the logic is here?
Not good. I mean, I don't think. I mean, I think that's cute that everyone was like. There was somebody else said, "Oh, we should have drank water on the way here," but I think that's only gonna last like two or three bites before. Like, that's not gonna last the whole thing. Yeah, it's gonna absorb all that. So.
And I was thinking too, like, oh, if your stomach's full with water, like you're just gonna not want to eat any of this stuff.
Yeah, you need to throw it up. Yeah.
We just gave Dolor some props about his respect for Shane and how he went out, and then he's trying to make people barf. So, what do you think about this as a strategy?
Well, I think that's him fitting in. Yeah, I don't know. They didn't look. The people around the table did not look impressed. I do think he was intentionally originally trying to do that to Jess. It seemed like it was towards them. So, I think that they're getting involved with the U-turn thing could be in there, especially now that Shane and Deb are gone. If they're looking for a target, they put one on them. So
absolutely. And I think that Dolor and Holly might be better, more consistent racers than Jess and Sefa. I like them still. But I do think that Dolor and Holly are a little bit better of a racer. Even though they haven't necessarily finished that much better, I have more confidence in them for whatever reason. Maybe it's the fit factor. They're just both a little fit.
I was shocked. This was the first time that I really noticed how tiny Aleisha is.
Like, I can't remember which ones. Oh, Aleisha and Chris. Oh, yeah, because they have tiny little tummies and they can't do a lot.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, she's tinier than I thought she was. Even height-wise, she seems tiny. Like I'm like, oh, okay, she's got a smaller build. This is going to be hard for these two to eat all of that, because like with a big stomach, that would be hard to eat.
I know. They're like, we don't eat that much for now. We don't have big appetites. Like, oh gosh, this is meal for the week. You're gonna gain weight. Yeah, so I don't know what the strategy would be here, but regardless of us making fun of the Super Seeks of drinking the water beforehand, they finished first. So they were onto something that we're just unaware of. Like maybe because they're hydrated, maybe they are able to salivate more. And so they're able to produce more liquid in their mouth. I'm going to actually look that up later to see if there's any truth behind that, because they were out first. And so they started, coming back into the game in 10th place, and now they're going to be leaving this leg of the race in first, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
pretty
they
cool.
did well.
Pretty happy that they got back to the front of the pack, which I'm sure you were as well.
Oh, yes.
So the roadblock, who's fired up?
I could do this one for sure.
Red hair?
Red hair, fiery. I love fire. Yes, I'm an Aries.
Aries.
I'm a fire.
Fire sign. Okay. Have you ever blown fire before?
Not like professionally or anything like that. No. But I think that I would be good at this task.
I don't know if I'd be good at it, but I feel like I'd figure it out. So basically they had to put some gasoline in their mouth, which seems rather dangerous, and spit out over a torch and light a target. So they had 3 targets that they had to light with their fire breath. And we get cut back to the Weetabix scene, and the Cowboys are actually still there, and they're second to last there with Chris and Aleisha, which I thought that was a really shocking
of all tasks, right? Like for them, I would have thought like I can't believe that they're the second to last team here? Like, what's
Like,
going on?
guys usually just eat stuff. Like, just shove it in there, you know? Like, it's usually the women that are like, I can't. Actually, lying, though. Remember Will from last US season? He couldn't eat the...
Right.
What were they having?
The donuts.
Yeah, what kind of donuts were they, though? Beignets. And so, like, I guess maybe I'm making that assumption, but I find that men usually just eat everything, so just eat it. So I was very shocked that the Cowboys were there while everybody was starting now to do the fire breathing. So Violetta was showing a lot of weakness at this point, worried about the fact that she chose to do this roadblock, worried about having fire in her mouth, worried about catching on fire. I feel like her weaknesses really came out on this roadblock.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously you didn't know what the task was. Again, it's one of the, like, the randomness of that where you're choosing before you're even close to it is so tough. But yeah, that wasn't a good choice. Like, it was bad luck for them. Do you like, I noticed on this season that they were able to do both roadblocks. Like both of them were a choice. It wasn't one of those when you got to the second roadblock where they said, oh, the other person has to do it if you didn't do the first one. They actually got to choose on both.
Yeah.
Some of them did both.
I think, though, it's going to go back to... Okay, because originally in The Amazing Race, one person could just do all the roadblocks and, like, that was fine. And then they changed it to everybody having to do equal. Yeah. So maybe it's an equal type situation. Be like, okay, well, I'm going to do these. I'm going to do these. Like, later on, though, maybe they're going to be forced to do many of them. So I do feel like they would make that balance out because that was so 20 years ago for, like, one person to do all the roadblocks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because I remember there was like seasons where people would do like, oh, she only did like one roadblock. They won. Like,
right?
Yeah. Chip and Kim. I remember that.
I don't remember who they are, but I remember that in
season 5.
Come on, I don't remember these things. Hell, stop. So I thought it was funny that Anurag could not get the technique right away. But Amanda figured it out pretty quickly. And so she was out of there first, which I was pretty impressed with. Like the two girls, they were able to stay at the front of the pack. They were able to hang on in that other roadblock. And they able to get down those wheat bix. So I was really pretty impressed with them. This leg that they were able to be the only girl team still left in there, and then they were beating all these guy teams as well. So I was impressed with them learning, and they're getting.
And I don't think that. I mean, there was some physical in this with the first roadblock, and like this, like this wasn't the easiest of legs. So good on them. They did really good.
They did. So Chris and Aleisha, though, we kind of realized that they weren't going to be doing that well, but they finally get to the detour, they're last at the detour, but they finally go en route and they're about to go to the roadblock, and they're really excited because there's still a lot of people there. So basically, everybody has grouped up together. I'm wondering why they're not getting more instruction. Because it seems like there is a specific way to like blow on it, and also like there's like you have to bring some like air motion, and I feel like Violetta, she just like I don't know what she was doing, but she wasn't like.
It wasn't a long enough breath. Like you've got to like go and push it out. Yeah,
and have intention too. Like it seems like she was like, or.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but they didn't. I would assume the reason why is because you don't want to lose your place in the line. But it's okay to lose your place in the line if you don't know what you're doing. You go back and figure out what's going to ask them. What can I do better? Yeah.
Exactly. I feel like it's better to get the instruction and do it right the first time, as opposed to trial and error and hope that you just get it on the first try in this kind of race. If there's no time, then obviously do whatever you want. But like you're on a race, I think it's better to become efficient at it and effective as opposed to trial and error on your own. So the pit stop is en route next, and Ashley and Aleisha were able to get their number one, ladies. Yay. Congrats. Impressive. And then they bring the first class pass back into this season. And I was like,
back.
A, that totally takes away from any sort of drama about the final two teams coming in. Who cares? It's a non-elimination leg.
Yeah.
And yeah, so now they have the Sabotage and the Salvage to give away. So they're waiting at the mat for all the teams to check in. So how do you feel about this is seemingly the way that they take care of their non-elimination legs?
Yeah. And I mean, both of these legs, unfortunately, have happened when somebody else beforehand gets removed from the race. So it's like, okay, why is this happening? But I don't know. I just feel like to make it more dramatic, it should be they just pick out of all the rest of the teams. Make everybody race to get to that number one. Make it important. And then make that choice on who it is. I get it. They want to put a penalty on that last place team. But, if they actually want to cause more drama, they should let them pick whatever teams and put it on them, right? Now, you may get teams that will say, well, that team came in last, so I'm just going to take the easy way and give it to them. But there also could be drama between teams, and that might make it more fun.
I mean, many people would probably give it to Dolor and Holly.
That's true.
Awkward. So maybe they're preventing that from happening.
Maybe that's
So Violetta's still at the detour when everybody at this point has left. She's feeling quite defeated. Jordan is being very supportive. I would have been irritated by her. I understand that she was going through a lot and she wasn't able to get it and she's becoming defeated and beating herself up. I understand going through those motions, but I wanted to see her get it together, figure it out, and execute. I didn't want to see her leave that detour feeling like a failure. I wanted to see her figure it out regardless of her placement. And so ended up timing out there. And so they left to go to the pit stop, and they're both basically crying in the shuttle. And we get to the mat. So I believe the Super Six came in second, correct?
Correct. Yes. Then the Cowboys
like their third.
Woo! Yeah. What was that? That was crazy.
Where did they come from? I mean, they were in second to last place at the Weetabix part, and then they ended up third. Like nothing happened. So I guess
that means a lot of teams struggled with the fire. Like they were struggling.
Struggle bus. I was shocked, and I was also shocked with Chris and Aleisha, who were able to figure out the fire first try, get all three, and they ended up being fourth.
And that's why a stomach and a diaphragm are a little bit different in my opinion. Because I'm sure you use that diaphragm to push the energy out, right? That's what you do. So because they were the ones that were saying that they got tiny stomachs. But I'm like, they made it work.
Maybe because it was full, they were just like, But you would think, though, Violetta being a dancer, she would understand diaphragm control and being how to use her that. Yeah. I don't know.
I think she was just defeated. Maybe even the first time she tried it, she was just like, I can't do this, and got in her head.
Yeah, she talked herself out of being able to complete that task, which it's so fascinating to see when mind over matter really comes into play, because it was completely capable of her to be able to figure out what she needed to do it, but she didn't believe she could, which is so interesting to see when it plays out in front of your eyes, Before though the rest of the teams got to started leaving for the pit stop though, the wind was so out of control over there that did you see Jess? Like even like some of her hair was burned because she was blowing the fire. Like, the wind just was taking it and like her face.
Every time it was like going in her face. I was like, that shouldn't be happening. Like that should be told, don't do this.
It should be like, okay, guys,
We're gonna wait for the wind.
Go. In the audience, you claim in 2-minute intervals or something like that. You know, I was like, that is really, really dangerous. It seemed when it got windy, but then everybody left. Obviously, as I said before, Violetta and Jordan were there last. She's upset. He's upset. And Chris was even crying though about like how he felt really bad that he couldn't make her feel better and he didn't know what to do or say to give her the confidence to get it done. So I feel bad for his, taking on that burden for her. So I couldn't remember who came in fifth.
Was Skye-Blue and Jake, who I would say I understand why you didn't remember because we haven't really seen them.
Okay. I was like, I don't know who came in fifth, and then I couldn't even figure out like by who was missing on my paper. They're on my team. I want them to do well. I think they are being consistent, which is a good place to be in the beginning. But yeah, I forgot about them. So thank you. They came in fifth. Sorry. Dolor and Holly was sixth. Not bad.
No, that's great for them. That was great.
Dwes and Katherine, seventh. Sefa and Jess, eighth. Jobelle and Ronnie, ninth. So I was surprised that they weren't in the hot seat this leg.
Yeah.
And then Jordan and Violetta were 10th. They were last. And now Amanda and Ashley are going to be giving out the Sabotage and the what's the thing? Salvage.
Yep.
Now they gave it in basically who came in last, being Violetta and Jordan. They gave them the Sabotage, and then Jobelle and Ronnie they gave the Salvage. Now in their confessional, Jordan thought it was a really dumb move for them to do.
Yeah.
Can you help walk me through his thoughts here? Because I don't think it was a dumb move at all.
I don't know if I can. His thoughts on it were that he thought that it was personal. I think he thought that it was personal, but he didn't think that it would make sense. Maybe because he thought maybe you should help a stronger team because then you can work together or not make an enemy, maybe, or something like that. But I don't see a salvage pass getting Jobelle and Ronnie a first place finish. And I don't, they could hurt themselves anyways and go. So why put more on them? Like that they're going to falter. If they falter, they're going to falter themselves. Whereas Jordan and Violetta, like they're a strong team. They were in first. Like, I mean, he proved himself. So, are you here to win for you and your partner, or are you here to help Jordan and Violetta be your friend? Like,
nope. And it would be.
Oh, she's gone. Okay, she's going to be coming back on in a second. So yes, so that was the decision that they made. There she is. Look at this. Like, do I keep going?
Like, something's wrong. I'm like, oh, apparently. Okay, bye. I don't know what I was saying. What were you saying?
So I just said, yeah. So basically, I think it was completely the right decision of who to pick. I mean, Jobelle and Ronnie.
They're not.
Yeah, and why piss them off? I mean, let them run their race and.
It would just, and I feel like it would just defeat them a little bit. And I just don't want to see them. I feel like they already feel as though they have to work really hard to be competitive with everybody else in the race. Just to kind of knock them down, it just seems a little bit mean too.
Yeah. You've got to, so in this situation, the choice is if you've got two teams in front of you and one of them you have an issue with, then you put it on that person. If you have two teams in front of you and you don't have an issue with either of them, you should put it on the team that's stronger.
Exactly. And maybe his argument was, well, we came in last, so we're not stronger. But come on. Come on.
Yeah.
So that was the end of episode 5. They seem to be really short compared to the US seasons. Are we missing stages within there, or like?
It seems to be the same amount of tasks, but I don't know. It felt like I don't know. There was a little bit more at the Weet-Bix maybe that we needed to see. I don't know if we needed to see all of that. Yeah, I don't know. It went by fast. It was a shorter episode for sure, but
like I feel like I have so many more notes and so much more to say in the US version. So I'm wondering if there's like,
there wasn't really any drama, which we need some drama. We need a team to explode or something, or
steal a taxi. Ooh.
Yeah, steal a taxi, and that will help us out.
Let me write something down, guys. So you have a survey for episode 4 and episode 5. What do you got?
Yeah, so let's go all the way back to episode 4 on that rock rappel. Would you have chosen brain or brawn?
Brain.
Yeah, I agree with that. So would I. Which leg 4 or 5 task do you think was the hardest? Was it the rock rappel, the dancing challenge, the pizza delivery, the radio DJing commercials, the cutting the grass with the nail clippers, driving those different cars, hanging out on the thing with that challenge on the when you're hanging, eating Weet-Bix, or fire breathing?
I think the hanging was probably the hardest. For the fact that like if you don't have like a lot of upper body strength, it would be very easy to fall.
Yeah.
I think the Weet-Bix was quite challenging. I'd say that would be up there as well, because it's like if you just can't get it down, it could take you a long time. And there was one more that I thought was pretty hard.
I've got to say from a patience thing, that cutting the grass with
that's I blocked it
in the heat would have been a bit much.
I would like Dolor was like, "Why are you being so like mean to Holly?" And he's like, "I'm just cutting the grass."
I can see people losing it a little on that.
Yeah, those are my top 3, though. Do you agree with those?
I think I agree with those as well. Did Shane and Deb make the right choice with who they U-turned? I think we've sort of talked about that.
No, I mean, obviously you don't really want to kick a team when they're down, but I don't think they should have used it at all, because they weren't in danger of going home other than his leg injury. And I would want to take out a team that wasn't going to be coming back. So wouldn't have used it. But if I did use it, it would have been one of the back teams or one of the teams that I know would be able to survive doing both. At least in the last flight.
Right.
Flight.
How about which team would you have considered U-turning this leg?
Wait, are this like 4?
Yeah.
Who would I have considered?
Yeah.
Probably, if I was them, I would probably do the Cowboys because they're right there. If I had to.
Yeah, if I really wanted that first place, yeah.
I'd be like, sorry guys, I just want first place. You're so close. It's 15 more minutes. I'm sorry. Probably if I won first place, yeah. You too?
Yeah, maybe we knew who were in the back, so maybe Jordan and Violeta or Jaskira Anurag. Maybe them, because they were so strong and they had a bit of bad luck drawing a bad number, and that might have been we could get them out.
Yeah, no, that's really true though, because they're not at the back of the pack for any reason other than bad luck, as you said. So yeah, that could be a chance to take them out while they might not be able to make up time.
I don't think that they're going to give many chances for people to take them out. So
and they went from 10th place to second.
Yeah.
Like, well, I guess that's next day. Sorry. I'm confused. Never mind.
Are you surprised with the number of teams making time penalties?
No, because they don't matter.
No, they don't.
Like 10 minutes. Okay, if you're in the final through 2 teams racing to the mat, 10 minutes could make the difference. But if you're kind of up there a little bit, 10 minutes is not really that much.
Right.
Like, we're used to like 4 hours and 6 hour penalties that like people like they survive.
Yeah.
So 10 minutes, I wasn't, especially this leg, it seemed as though there was a whole hour, people were an hour behind them. So
what did you think of the Roadblock hangout challenge that helped determine the order of how people will continue racing?
I kind of thought it was a little bit weak.
Yeah.
It just wasn't well thought out.
Yeah.
Because they had to wait for the people to stay on it. It was just weird.
Yeah. I feel like there should have been, I could see something like where you put them all at the, like, bunch them together and then they have to do something. But then, like, I like the idea of, well, once they're done, then they can go. But yeah, who knows?
It needs to be rethought a little bit. Yeah. There's something there, but I'm not sure. Like maybe in the future, maybe like it determines how they leave the pit stop after the next leg. Like that could be something interesting, just so that people can still continue on the race. Right. Ooh, but then maybe you have to choose whether or not it's more advantageous for them to stay long now and get a better spot leaving in the next. I don't know. Just thinking of new strategies, but maybe that could be interesting.
How about, were you sad to see Shane and Deb eliminated from the race?
I was definitely. I was worried for them already with their running abilities. It seemed as though they weren't as mobile as some of the other teams, of course. And I never want to see anybody medevac because we know how hard the process is to get on these damn shows. It's COVID, so they've probably been quarantined and doing tests. They have children and family that like they're leaving because they're trying to win this money to do this for them, and then to be taken out by
something that's going to affect them even after, like,
I hate the medevac. It's so it's soul crushing because it's like you can't do anything about it. Your body says no.
How dry did those Wheat Bix look?
I think you went like it just turned to dust. I feel like I would just be getting really silly with it. Like I'd start crushing it. I don't know. I feel like I would just make a mess and eat it funny. Like I think that I'd go a little bit delirious eating those.
Which team do you think you would have given the Sabotage pass to? Jobelle and Ronnie or Jordan and Violetta?
I would do the same. I would give it to Jordan and Violetta. As we kind of talked about, they're the stronger team on a whole. They had a bad leg, but I think that they're very capable of doing well in many other legs and in more legs than Jobelle and Ronnie would. I think that in most circumstances, Jordan and Violetta would be ahead of Jobelle and Ronnie.
I agree. And finally, which of the remaining teams has surprised you the most so far?
Cowboys.
Cowboys, all right.
They, as we talked about a little bit earlier, like that first leg, we're just like, what? You couldn't read the clue to know that you had to carry the trade like around. Like it was just so shocking what they were thinking to do. And they were getting, I think they had like the dodo music on and like, it just, they kind of made them out to seem less bright than they are, like less smart, less like savvy. And so I apologize for me having judgment maybe on like how I might have perceived them to be. But me being surprised by how well they're doing is me having my eyes open to a group of people that I've never really hung out with. And so I apologize for thinking that they wouldn't do as well as they are doing. And I'm impressed.
Very good. Very good. All right. That's it. So everybody else in the comments, take a look for the survey. Please fill it out. We'll talk about the results next episode.
Yay! Please. We are excited to hear your results. So now, what do you have going on, Phil?
We have a fun games night, a wild card open games night at Good Time Games with Adam and Phil. That's taking place Saturday at 8 o'clock. Only $20 to play. And about 2.5 hours long and lots of fun. So
I might just participate so I can pretend like I'm doing something with my life.
Love it.
I just may. And so for anybody that's watching that watches Big Brother Canada, the cast has been dropped. And so next week I'll be doing like a cast assessment probably on Monday. If you guys want to tune into that, I'll be doing it through RHAPups. So it'll either be on the RHAPups website or like YouTube channel. And at the same time, I think I'm going to be able to stream it here. So I'm not sure who's going to be wanting to do it with me, but you know, we'll see how it goes with the draft picks. So I'm thinking Monday. So just putting it out there. Know that the content I'll be definitely putting out after the episode. Wednesday, Thursday, and Mondays are going to be the days of the episodes airing. Hopefully right after the episode we can go live and talk about it, because I like watching the live feeds. I just like watching the episodes right away so that we're almost as caught up as possible and I don't have to be too censored in what I talk about. So that's kind of why I like going live. But I'm really pumped. Have you looked at the cast?
I looked at the cast. I didn't see their names. I only saw their photos. Who knows? What did you think?
They were talking about diversity. I think it looks diverse.
Yes, yeah.
I feel I'm interested. I'm not like, oh, another white jock. Like there's no eye rolls there. I was like, okay, let me see her. Okay, he looks like he'd be interesting. I think that from just looking at their pictures, I haven't looked at their bios very deeply yet, but I definitely felt that they look pretty good. I want to see what they can do.
Let's hope for a good one. I'm sure it's going to be filled with twists. Do we know what the theme is?
I haven't fully looked properly, but it seems as though we are voting for team captains. That's what I just see. I've been seeing like Twitter kind of pop up and they're like, oh, vote for so-and-so for Team Destiny or something like that. So I'm not sure. I am piecing it together. I don't know anything factual yet because I haven't done any research so far, but I am stoked.
Well, very cool. And that will be on RHAPups.
RHAPups and Reality Realness, both of us. And if you've done so already, you know the drill. Just subscribe. Like I'm sick of asking. Just do it over there. All right. And yeah, I guess we'll see you tomorrow late night where we're gonna do some UK Drag Race.
Woohoo!
Folks, bye.